back. Yeah, he was really worried about what a Biden win means for the Great Reset. It's petrifying.
Well, it's
But
been
yeah, sorry, you
engineered
were saying what we
precisely
should
to
do.
bring it in. I mean, that's. I mean, that's on its face. That is what, you know. Those are the two things that are happening at the moment, right? And the reason why now and not some other time? Okay, well, it's because there's a no-deal Brexit that's been billed. So people in the UK should really be talking about Brexit at the moment, especially as Boris was so quick to sort of throw his arms around Uncle Joe, right?
Was he?
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
Oh, has he done it already? I didn't know.
Yes. So I mean,
really? So what has he
Boris
done?
has outed himself.
Did he
Boris
do a
is
television speech as well? The whole thing?
I didn't. What I mean,
was it a tweet?
There's no point watching his speeches because you know what he's going to say.
No. I mean, I wouldn't watch them at all. No, of course not. I'm just asking. You know,
But
because
I saw the headline that he had said it. He did a tweet and stuff. I mean, whether he's made a speech, he probably has by now. I don't know, but he's completely exposed now as the fifth columnist that he is. I mean, he just is.
Yeah, I've sent you 3 messages on Skype today, I think. If you look at the first one, it's to do with, the whole Build Back Better thing.
Yes.
And what you told me, obviously it resonated with me, but it was something where it felt believable based on the 20 years or so that I've been on and off researching stuff to do with global institutions and local government and everything in between. And what you have said to me about the UN and planning at a global, regional and local level, a national level, the Build Back Better thing, for some reason, I typed out Build Back Better today. That's it. It's because on my Twitter account, I follow a housing association from around the corner here called the Notting Hill Housing Association, or Notting Hill Trust. And I know someone who lives, because they bought Genesis as well. So I know someone who lives one of those places, and they're not being looked after properly. The residents are really suffering. And have you heard about the cladding scandal? You must have heard about that.
Yeah.
Loads of people have got cladding. So basically, there's Twitter groups in relation to that. So there was a Twitter group that was saying something about that, and in it, it said, Brent, Build Back Better. Brent, round the corner. I was born in Westminster, but I grew up in Brent, where Wembley Stadium is and stuff like that. So I Googled Build Back Better. Yeah, we're just reverse engineering my argument here, by the way. I Googled Build Back Better, and I saw MPC Studios or MPS Studios. I don't know what it was, some website, and it had Brent and Build Back Better, and it was talking about planning, and it was talking about generic and stuff that you told me about, West 3 and stuff like that. All of that. I realized PR firm. It was a planning PR firm. And it reminded me of, what you were referring to as noise. Look, Ranjan, most stuff apart from Mode 4 is noise that you've mentioned so far today, because at least Mode 4 is part of the Great Reset. That's fucking real. But of course, everything that you told me about planning in the UN and local government, that's obviously fucking real, and that's why you're worried, and I recognize that. So you are as worried as my friend at the health food shop, which happens to be in Brent, for exactly the same reasons, for COVID, but the other stuff as well to do with the business and things like that. So today's Sunday Times, the lead story. So I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and then I got a notification from the Sunday Times. Gabriel Pogrund, who I think his uncle was a white Jewish South African anti-apartheid journalist, very well known. Gabriel Pogren did all of the anti-Corbyn stories, and he's got that book out about how Corbyn went wrong, and to do all anti-Semitism. And but his news story, that part one was last week. So this is the gambit.
The only question that's worth really looking into about Jeremy Corbyn is whether he was a willing and knowing stalking horse or not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just totally irrelevant.
No, sure. But anyway, so that's one element of noise that had a purpose. But today, very interesting, the further noise that comes out. Because I remember about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I told you, oh, look, the way that the headlines are working that Monday in the FT, it basically said, not everyone will be able to have a vaccine, unquote, warns head of UK task force. And then, so it was implied.
There will be some lucky ones.
Yeah, it was an "Are you still beating your wife?" question that was on the British public, saying, surely, surely you're going to be extremely anticipating this vaccine for you. And we're really sorry, we may have to let a couple of you down, which is their way of saying, keep up, this is what you want. And so it said that Kate Bingham was the head of the vaccine regulator. So I Google her, because I'd never heard of her before. And it turns out she's a private equity, biotech, industrialist, investor for 25 years, Schroders, etc. So she does know a lot about big pharma and biotech. But it turns out that her father was Lord Bingham, who created the Supreme Court in this country. When I mention this to a friend who is in the medical establishment and is pro-vaccine in general, but also all of this stuff, he basically said, he kind of calmed me down a bit, because I said, look at this. She's also married to Jessie Norman, by the way, who is the Minister for Tax under Rishi Rishi, working out what is a viable job, etc. Yeah. So Kate Bingham, the exclusive story last week was because my friend said to me, oh, at least she's better than Dido Harding. And I thought, well, they're both married to Tory MPs and they're both filling their boots. So Kate Bingham is married to a government minister. But my friend just said, well, look, her dad was a top judge. I'm sure she can be trusted, to resist the temptation of insider trading. And basically last week they said that she was in America and she did a presentation and she showed off all of these vaccines that the UK government are probably going to sign up to, but haven't necessarily yet. So that's sensitive information. And she was showing it at some investor conference in the US. Yeah. So the turd in the punch bowl. And so she was showing that off. And so Gabriel Pogren, who's obviously, got an MI6 connection because he's Sunday Times journalist, it's not like he hasn't got good sources of information, and people on the inside, blah, blah, blah. He does this story last week. Shit is fucked up and bullshit. And today, last night at 9:30, I'm talking to someone and his new story comes in. And it was that she's got, and there was a contradiction in it when I looked at it for a moment. I didn't read the story, I just looked at the tweet. It said that she has 8 full-time staff, and then it says on the equivalent of £165,000 a year each, working on PR. 8 full-time PR staff, and they're all from Admiral something. Sounded like an insurance firm, but it's obviously a PR thing. So they're saying 8 full-time, but then they said on the equivalent of. But that's not possible. You can't be on full-time and then on the equivalent of. Because if you're pro-ratering, because they said that in total it was £670,000, which means 4 full-time, 8 on half day. But it for a moment, and you know what you were saying about the difference between what's noise and what's relevant, and la-di-da. And because I used to be friends with John Ford, who was a blagger for the Sunday Times, and told me about the information that he would give them and the way it looked in a story when he did it, I suddenly realised, look, me and my mate who make memes to take the piss out of the government, because that's the only defence we think we've got left. I said to him, because we'd already looked into Kate Bingham, we knew she was dodgy or had potential to be dodgy. So I feel as though if I start making memes about Kate Bingham and start talking about how corrupt it is, etc., I'm falling into a trap. That's the noise trap. They've created the gambit, the meat, and I would be falling into it by going, oh, if I spend the next few hours being outraged about Kate Bingham's corruption for showing sensitive information to US investors to do with the UK's vaccine situation, I'm falling into a trap. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's more important, as you said, to talk about the Great Reset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with Kate Bingham, you seem to be onto something there, for sure.
What both that she's bad, but also that it's a distraction.
Yeah, the vaccine task force. It's not a distraction, is it?
No, but I mean the way in which the Sunday Times is. So the way in which I first heard of her was her saying, "We're really sorry, we're not going to be able to give it to everyone."
Yeah.
So it's very clever PR. So in fact, the people who are being paid 670 grand, that's what they came up with. They came up with that. So they are fucking earning their money, big time.
Well,
they're on the wrong side. No, they're on the wrong side, but they're fucking earning their money. You know what I mean? Because that isn't that the principle?
If I was going to sell that to people, I would get people to bloody want it, and I wouldn't do it. I mean,
no, I'm not saying it's the best technique, but it's a hard sell. It's the Biden technique. That's how you get Biden. This is the same technique that says that if you vote for Brexit, you're a racist. It's exactly this. It's the same technique. Come on.
This is the Brzezinski. This is the Brzezinski meme, right?
What? We'll
tell them any old shit and they're going to believe it. And that's telling someone any old shit and expecting them to believe it.
Yeah, it's going back to what you were saying about Matt Hancock. All of these
people aren't that stupid. Potentially, if they're really scared, they are that stupid. But the point is people aren't that scared anymore, by and large.
I assume you remember not the 9 o'clock news.
I do.
Yeah, so I only ever listened to audio tapes of it from the local library because I was too young to be watching that when it came out in the early 80s. And I'm just wondering if Jeremy Hunt, Hancock, these people, if they're drawing more from that than anything else. Because as you said, this shit, you'd have to be stupid.
Hancock won't remember it either. He's really young.
No, I know, what I mean is the people behind him, whoever these people are, because it's almost comedy. You pointed this out to me before. It's fucking absurd that it just passes.
Well, yes. The thing is, you see, I mean, they would be making their living on the stage if they were this funny intentionally.
Well, you know what the Peter Cook quote. The Peter Cook quote. So Peter Cook dies in 95, right? Around March, April 95. I think around then. But his quote was, one of his quotes was, so you know how Michael Howard was the Home Secretary at the time?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically said all of these people only became barristers and, in the cabinet because they ended up going to the Cambridge Debating Society. It's the only place that would have them because they wouldn't let them into footlights.
Yes. Yeah.
How we ended up with a second-rate,
a second-rate comedian as Prime Minister.
Yeah, and the irony is that all the people writing Private Eye, the philosophy of Private Eye is from exactly the same place. It's just that they ended up doing footlights and not the fucking Debating Society. I think they've got a slightly better cover this week than usual. I haven't looked at it yet, but
yeah, I mean it really is back to Kremlin watching now, Ranjan, this whole thing, it's so incredibly Soviet.
Yeah.
It really is between the lines stuff.
It's funny that you say that, because did I mention to you, so I don't go down the bookshop anymore. Well, first of all, it's closed for now, but also I haven't got any money anymore. But there was a time about a year and a half ago that this is the second-hand bookshop that I go to. Loads of books came in about the Soviet Union. Have I mentioned this to you? And so usually it's because someone's died and they had a big Soviet collection. But it might be that lots of Soviet books come in and they never choose to put them out. And so actually they're putting them out and they're from several people. So I couldn't quite tell which one it was, because, you know, they've got way too many books to just put any of them out. They choose, they curate. So when they all came in, I thought, I'm not fucking interested in any of this shit. You know, I'm interested in other stuff, like whatever I thought I was interested in. But then they had variations of Soviet books on all sorts of things. And they started to pop up in all the sections that I look at. So they had books on whistleblowing in the Soviet Union. They had books on media in the Soviet Union, literature in the Soviet Union, which basically is moving into censorship in the Soviet Union. So I started picking some of these up. They had 2 on psychiatric hospitals, which I now recognize as where they put their political dissidents. And so I picked up some of the books on ideology in the Soviet Union, and particularly the communication of. And so whenever the likes of, we chat sometimes, we get on okay, but, I'm a bit nervous about him. Peter Jukes of Byline, whenever they like to talk about hybrid warfare and Russia. Oh, did you see that Carol Cadwalladr apologized to Aaron Banks yesterday?
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that 5 minutes after it came out. I saw that and I thought, I don't know if I said anything, but that is very interesting in the sense that not long before that, there had been a photograph of her outside a court. And I looked at the 2 lawyers that were with her. I don't know who else was there, but, I recognized one of them. I know that one of those women is her lawyer because she's made a big deal out of it. She was Solicitor of the Year last year, 2019. And she's the same woman. I shouldn't get too personal here, but she's the same woman that actually, as far as I'm concerned, is complicit in the corporate manslaughter of Helena. Because it was Bindman's was the solicitors. And so, I would have wanted to warn Carol, but obviously she's mixed up with people who are, I don't want to go anywhere near that shit. But they're all very bad as far as I'm concerned. But it's very easy for them to just point at the Tories and just go, what a bunch of whatevers.
Because she lost her legal case with.
Did she lose it, or did she basically just apologise to stop it from going further?
No, she lost, and I suspect there was probably a cost hearing coming up.
So she lost. So is that been in the papers?
I believe so. Yeah, I think she lost.
Because all I saw was the tweet.
I suspect that's the quid pro quo, not to get bankrupted for costs.
Right.
Almost certainly. That's the first thing that popped into my head. Oh, that'll be the genuflection to avoid bankruptcy.
Genuflection, did you say?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What does that mean?
Genuflection in front of the Pope, when you lie face down with your arms prostrate to, show fealty. It's basically Aaron Banks getting his pound of flesh in public to, I'm probably saying, right, you're all right, I mean, he's got pots of money, it's not about the money, but he probably was pissed off that she basically told a porky pie about him.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't think, whatever the situation is, I thought until you said that, maybe she's, realised she can't afford to go any further, blah, blah, blah. But but the thing is that she's got billionaires behind her as well. So, yes.
It's you can't always rely on people who say they've got your back in those situations. So she's
but it doesn't matter if they've got
down by some of them, or maybe all of them.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they've got her back or not, because if she's going to lose, she's going to lose, and it looks like either she's lost or she's run out of money. It sounds like she's lost.
No,
I don't know.
she definitely lost.
How do you know?
It was in. I can remember seeing it in the paper. I mean, she definitely lost.
Okay, yesterday or the day before, right?
No, it was a couple of weeks, even months ago. She lost ages ago.
Yeah,
Because Aaron Banks at the time said she was wrong. Then she started tweeting again, and he sort of said, "Look, you've lost the case. You know that, and that's slanderous. What you just said, you're repeating the thing."
Yeah, what she said was
And
that
then she also tweeted saying that he was now going to bankrupt her because she couldn't afford it. She has said that herself in public.
Okay, so I'm only talking about the follow-up case, not the first one. And so what she tweeted when she apologized, she said, I said on the 22nd of October that Aaron Banks had been something along the lines of, convicted or proven to have broken the law. And then she said, that was wrong. I apologize, and she said something else, for any upset. So that's clearly her talking about something that only happened, that she only did on the 22nd. And after the 22nd, I saw a photo of her, and that's the photo I spoke to you about, where there were people. There was a woman that I recognized, and there was this other lawyer guy as well, who must have been the barrister. I remember thinking, you look dodgy as fuck. I reckon you're Doughty Street Chambers, or something like that. I totally recognized him. He's a sort of celeb barrister. I assume she lost that.
The sort of politics that we're in, this politics of the gulag, people like Aaron Banks will be worried now that they're going to be coming after him. The establishment, well, they've been after him a bit. They in the United States, people are going to be going after the other side. This is, the locker up.
I forgot about that.
Now you'll see that much more vindictively pursued by these Stalinists. I mean, I
forgot. Yeah, the US is not going to be a nice place now, is it?
Well, it's not going to be very nice if you're a potential obstacle in the way of their, of their dastardly plans.
Well, I saw some violence. The thing is that for me,
I'm not talking about mob violence and on the street and all the rest of it. I'm talking about bullets in the back of the head, in with professional hitmen and proper retribution, not just a bit of sort of handbags.
Proper gangster shit. Yeah. I think.
We're talking piano wire and horses' heads, mate.
Yeah, I'm not really into any of that stuff, actually. I find it very worrying. But obviously it goes on, but yeah, I don't like the idea of it stepping up. But I think
I do think that the picture that's being painted is, it is beyond absurd, and it really is time to draw the line. So
have you heard the term the clack?
The clack? No.
The clack is when you hire an audience to clap for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember the first time I remember seeing it was very recently, but it's sort of, maybe it's because the concept was familiar. In the same way that you have paid mourners at funerals. I was reading a book about Horatio Bottomley. We've spoken about him before, haven't we?
Horatio
Bottomley. He founded the Evening Standard and the Financial Times, and he became MP for Hackney. I think probably for the Labour Party. He went to jail for fraud. He was as popular as Nigel Farage.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think we have spoken about him. I don't remember. Anyway, I don't recall.
Yeah, and he ran a magazine called The John Bull. And
Okay.
it was a Brit with a sort of Union flag waistcoat
Mm-hmm.
and a bulldog. And I think what he probably got done for was he sold Liberty bonds, war bonds, but I think it was a Ponzi scheme. So he was defrauding the public during the war, making them think that they were war bonds.
Mm.
This is World War II, but he had this thing where he could fill Trafalgar Square and really motivate everyone and really get everybody going. But at the same time, apparently everybody also knew he was a con man. But yeah, so when I look at Farage, for example, at the moment with his new party, it's the heuristic argument. The right answer is the wrong man. It's the wrong everything. Everything's wrong except the answer. Almost all the working out. And so then the problem becomes occasionally he'll, a broken clock is right twice a day. Occasionally he'll say something this is completely bang on. And you can only say, well, look, I don't like you, but you're right.
I'm
there's a lot of that going on. That's what's confusing for people. It's not so confusing for me, but that's very confusing for many people.
I mean, Nigel Farage, in many respects, is a Tory Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, you put him in that kind of package. It's just useful idiot, come gatekeeper, come controlled opposition, whatever it is. But flip-flopping, finding his niche. He was in the European Parliament for a hell of a long time.
It's commedia dell'arte, isn't it? He's like the Harlequin who just shows up, and it doesn't matter what the play is. He's like, okay, I'm the Harlequin. Let me, like Jack and Ori or whatever. I'll just rent a ghost. I'll just clown about.
Yeah. So maybe he's a turd in the punch bowl masquerading as a slice of kiwi fruit.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, well, the thing is that if you have somebody who says the occasional truth, it's an incredible diversionary thing, because then afterwards, people who have some social conservatism, I mean that in what I call a good way, will agree with some of the, things that he's saying, and quite rightly, and yet, he just does it in such a fucking awful, messy way that he ends up making it really shitty.
He's like a horse that refuses the fence at the critical moment. That's the problem. So he's not a reliable jumper.
He's Build Back Better, isn't he? You fucking know he is. He is. He's much worse than
Trump. And up until December, when I talked about giving Boris the benefit of the doubt, I really didn't know which was going to flip one way or the other. But he's clearly decided to remain in his rules-based international order camp.
Actually, it's quite funny because
and that's only with Boris. I don't think it's I really do think with him he just wants to be on the winning side because because he wants to be in charge. He wants to be world king. That's.
But you know what? Trump is not that far away from that. I don't think Trump is that far away from that. And anything better about Trump.
You can't compare Trump. You can't compare him to Boris because Trump has got real money. People say, "Oh, he's not as rich as he says he is, or he's not really that rich, or whatever." The guy is absolutely loaded, right? and it's what's a few billion between friends kind of thing. $1 billion is a fucking load of money.
Okay. Right? But look, we don't know
whether you've got 14 of them or 40 of them.
Yeah, but we don't know.
These are unimaginable sums of money.
But we don't know No, we don't know. That's not. But anyway, so what I was more
What don't we
interested.
know? What, we don't know that Donald Trump is a billionaire?
We don't really know.
Well, we don't know anyone's a billionaire. I mean, either they're all billionaires or they're not billionaires because
Roger, listen, Roger. Honestly,
But
this
I did a
this is
piece
one of
about
the only
The
times.
supposed Apple cash mounting. Okay, when people were talking about Apple's cash mounting a few years ago, right? Um, and I I explained in this blog how the idea of a cash mounting is like a false impression of what it actually is. What it is because if it was physical cash that they actually had, there'd be hardly any other cash out there would represent such a large proportion of the physical cash in circulation.
Right,
So
hold
what
on a
it is,
second. Hold on a second. Don't give me any of these principles. I know what you're fucking doing to me. You're girdling me, aren't you?
girdling.
I'm getting fucking girdled here, aren't I?
I've really no idea.
Yeah, because come on, you use the word tasky every so often in order to sort of explain something that is obviously a valid explanation. And so you're girdling me. You're basically saying, on the one hand, you're saying, Ranjan, have you got any idea how big a billion is? And on the other hand, you're there saying, no such thing as a fucking billion, mate. I've
No,
clocked it.
well,
I've
but,
clocked it. That's it. I get what you're
yeah,
doing
no,
here, and that's cool.
you're
I'm
saying,
okay
do
with
we
that.
know Trump is a billionaire? And I'm saying, well, but do we know anyone is by the same token?
Yeah, but
But the
are you
simple
being
fact is, right, Donald Trump has a claim on more financial tokens than Boris Johnson does. It's obvious,
I buy that.
right, as an individual.
I buy
And
that.
therefore, his degrees of freedom of movement, okay, are several orders of magnitude greater than those of our esteemed.
But could it
Yeah.
also be? Could it
Also,
also be that?
they are also several degrees of freedom of movement greater than Uncle Joe's, I would argue.
Yeah, but hold on. I may be shooting myself in the foot here, but I shall do it in a heroic manner. Could it be that Senor Trump actually also owes more money than Joe and Boris?
Almost certainly, yes. Um, uh, Whether he owes more as an overall percentage of his net worth would be an interesting question. But yes, I mean,
But anyway, no. I
probably
mean, I get your point,
just
though. I
on
get your point.
one or two of his own assets. I mean, I haven't. When his tax stuff was first released the first time round in 2016, it was published, and I did go through it, and I went through it quite thoroughly. And that's the one thing that you can't do because obviously from that information you're not party to the the mortgage deeds and whatever on individual deals and stuff like that, so you don't really know what his gearing is. He has in the past said that his gearing isn't as high as it once was, and of course famously back in the late 80s he was in the negative billions
Yeah.
when the market crashed. But
how do you feel about this, Roger? One of my mates that I was having a chat with, he said to me, "Oh, come on, Ranjan, you've got to want Biden to win, and we know why you've got to want Biden to win because that's so much worse for America." And ha ha ha. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to go down the road of wanting anyone to win because I need to be above the fray. But
well, you know that this is quite an apt sort of little
I think China were way more afraid of Biden.
an apt little metaphor to go along with that. If the US sneezes, the rest of the world catches cold. Or maybe in this case, if the US sneezes, the rest of the world catches COVID-19.
I knew you were gonna fucking go there, man. Come on, Roger. Admit you enjoyed that. You fucking enjoyed that, didn't you? Fuck. Oh dear, that was brilliant. I thought, oh man, wow, it was just what a setup. I totally left that one open for you. So much for my fucking grandstanding. I got up earlier than you today as well.
Yeah, well, I was just warming up my computer. I've got to put some coffee on, roll myself a cigarette, and get myself properly nicotined and caffeined.
All right, well, hold on a second.
My brain starts working.
Yeah, so what is it now in England? Is it about 7 o'clock or something?
It's 8:32 here in Sweden, so it must be 7:30 with you.
Okay, so I'm not sure. So this is the first time for a while that it's a Sunday morning, and I'm thinking, whoa, it's Sunday morning for, you know, politics and news and stuff like that. This is where it happens, you know, for the...
Well, it's all going to be about Uncle Joe, because what they don't want to do is... One, they don't want to address how the polling was so badly wrong. Maybe they will. Two, they really don't want to address the allegations of voting irregularities, and there have been voting irregularities. I put up on my BitChute channel yesterday a 2006 documentary that was made about the 2004 election and about the voting machine problems then. Very good. It's worth watching.
Is it his name? It's not Greg Palast, is it?
No.
He's a proper Democrat. Okay. Okay. What's point 3?
It's called Hacking Democracy,
and
it's a very, very good. I'll give you the link now. It's it's shortish in that it's about an hour and 40 minutes or whatever.
What's point 3? So 1, the polls. 2, voter fraud. Point 3.
The voter fraud. They want to be away from that.
Yeah, that's point 2. Yeah. What's point 3?
So the third point is what they want to do is
pivot into
big up colour revolution. What they want to do is get people to believe that the legitimate president is Uncle Joe. So I saw someone pointed out
as a colour revolution.
In a colour revolution, that's what you do. So for instance, they've been trying to do it in Venezuela. You know, in Venezuela, they were trying to get the opposition guy.
Yeah. Guaido.
They all recognised him, all the rest of it. It's the same thing. It's the same playbook.
Okay, well, in that case, can I tell you the bit of language that is now irresistible? Irresistible. It's not technically true, but we've got to fucking use it either now or later. Obviously, junta is a brilliant word. We'll leave that one for a moment, you know, but junta, you know, like, you know, the Biden junta, the May junta, whatever. But
right, okay, yeah.
That's brilliant, especially early doors in an administration.
Oh, well, that's quite Hunter Biden is quite funny, isn't it?
Oh, it's a fucking hashtag and a half, isn't it? I love it. Hunter Biden. I love it. Whether you use the J or the A at the end, you know, like HUNTA, Hunter. But yeah, JU is probably better.
Yeah. I'll use
Biden.
The real, because I mean the people who get it will get it. But Hunter Biden, that's very funny.
Yeah. That's talking to people, not Google.
Yeah.
And so yeah, where were we? It was the Hunter. But what they used to do with Guaido. And I noticed this, so I haven't looked at the Irish press for a while, but as you know, I occasionally will have a glance at the clickbait on the Spanish and French. And so they both, in unison with with the Guardian and the New York Times, they referred to Guaido as the interim president. Interim. Yeah. Whoa! I mean, you know, I just accuse you of girdling me. And it's just like, what the fuck is that? How can he be the interim president when he never ran in an election? And that was just, that was just, you know, The Economist, all of these people, they were just very happy to do that.
Arguably, Uncle Joe didn't run either.
Hold on. What do you mean?
He wasn't aware. He wasn't aware he was running, was he?
Well, I mean, I think it's quite true that he didn't do very much campaigning, because I assume that there was no audience when he did any of the TV debates, and he never did anything.
Yeah, that's it.
But so yeah, interim president. I quite like the idea of using that one. Or could you call him the pre-interim president? Is that going a bit far with my prefixes? But I mean, interim, I found that really offensive. When they said interim president, that was offensive.
Yeah, well, quite. But that's it. Right, Hunter Biden, this meme, okay?
Yeah,
so, right, what it has to be, right, Hunter Biden, then obviously you've got to have the Obama Yes We Can with the two-tone thing over it. Hunter Biden, Yes We Can, and then you need
Great Reset.
Biden as like a military general holding a laptop. Hunter Biden, Yes We Can.
Oh, the laptop, right. But then in order to make it educational, I'm sorry for being boring here. So we've got all of these brilliant nods, but then to make it a little bit educational, surely then there's the hashtag the Great Reset.
Yeah.
At the bottom. So that's enough on its own. But in order not to waste...
Or it'd be the Great Reset regime.
Oh, right. Do you reckon that's a good way of owning a new hashtag, you mean?
Well, the Great
idea.
Reset, but the what you're trying to do is basically paint the picture of a rigged election with a backdoor fascist agenda, right? And I mean, Hunter does that, right? But Hunter Biden, because that's a pun on his corrupt son.
Yep.
And the laptop and all the rest of it, that brings in all of the other stuff. I mean, in terms of grey space communication, Hunter Biden, that is, you know,
yeah, sure,
I mean,
sure. But do you think Great Reset? But do you think Great Reset on its own is okay because it's a pointer, or do you reckon Great Reset regime or something else in relation to Great Reset? Because if it's about giving people clues,
I think you'd have to make it a sentence.
Well, I liked your one where you said the Great Reset backdoor fascist regime. But I'm talking about a hashtag. A hashtag.
Yeah.
So it's 3 hashtags. Hunter Biden, Yes We Can, and then the Great Reset fascist backdoor regime. Or backdoor fascist regime. It's a huge hashtag at the end, but...
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think what you would do is you would get that into the meme as a sentence. So right. It would be the Great Reset fascist regime. Yes, they can, or yes, they will. Because you've got the two-tone colour to get the Yes We Can association with Obama.
Well, how about 3 hashtags in a sentence? So Hunter Biden, Yes We Can, the Great Reset, and then a sentence underneath which says backdoor fascist regime.
Well,
we're cutting down on prepositions there and shit like that.
Build back better.
Ooh, Roger's planning hat comes on. I love it. Or anti-planning, as it were.
Well, let's kick it around. Have a word with your meme man. I don't know if he's whether he's.
Well, what's so funny is that
for Uncle Joe or Orange and Bad.
Yeah, he's quite reasonable, but he swings on the opposite side to you. So, I mean, not completely the opposite, but it's a pendulum. So, you know, every so often I'm like, back, because yeah. Anyway, we can't include this in the video. I can't upload that part because I wanted to upload the video. We can't upload that bit. Don't upload anything talking about the meme, or you know, talking about my mate in Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't uploaded anything recently. I mean, I might. I think it's worth having a go at. Hunter Biden is funny. That's funny as fuck. That is.
Yeah. So let's end this chat now. We've got 2 videos if you want to upload either of them, yeah, go ahead. The second one, I just don't want the last few moments. The good thing about YouTube is you can actually slim it down. Yeah, trim. Yeah. Not that anyone's going to notice. But yeah, Hunter Biden, blah, blah, blah. So I'll let you have your coffee. I think at about 9 o'clock UK time, it might be a bit later this time. They've obviously, as you said, they've got an election special. And so just to recap, you said 1, 2, 3. Number one, they want to welcome Sleepy Joe. Is that it? Number two, no, pollsters. You said number one, they don't want to talk about the pollsters.
They don't want to talk about the polls. They don't want to talk about the election irregularities. And what they want to do is talk about, well, it's back to business as usual and big up the colour revolution.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things about
it's all praise children of the revolution. I
love it. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing having a better understanding of the shit that I'm being asked to swallow. But yeah, with the pollster thing, I think something that somebody told me was, because according to the current count, it looks like Biden's got 4 million more than Trump or something like that.
Yeah, but out of nearly 150 million,
right?
And he was supposed to have had an 11% lead.
Well, yeah, but this is going closer to what my perception of your point is, and that is that the polls were basically saying Biden's fucking taking this, and then you sort of say, well, then why are we waiting for 3 or 4 days after the election to be told the result? You know, don't just tell me to accept the result before the result's given, and then afterwards, why is it taking so fucking long?
The point I made about Brexit and why they didn't put the thumb on the scale is the turnout was so great that the adjustments you have to make to rig the vote become too obvious. And that's the problem that they've had with this Trump. Because the turnout was so great, they didn't manage to demotivate people from voting with all of the false signaling, saying, look, he's going to win by a mile. You know, if you're a Republican, you may as well not bother. That's what that was all about, right? So then, if you look at
that's red rag to a bull, though, isn't it? That is red rag to a bull.
If you want to rig a vote, okay, you have to try and keep all the proportions kind of in square.
Oh yeah.
Right, because otherwise, if you just you run the risk of having too many ballots, the turnout is far too high, or even the turnout is bigger than the registered vote.
Yeah, it's a bizarre spike, isn't it? Yeah, it's
so the higher the turnout of the legitimate vote, right? To ballot stuff, what you have to do is where you add one for your own guy, you have to take away from another. You have to literally switch the votes. And with this electronic tallying, that they show how that works in that link of that film about hacking the election. Now, there's a real-time video where someone's actually showing how, in real time, as they're announcing and talking about votes, that they switch votes going up for one guy, and the Republican guy against him, right, his vote count doesn't, it actually goes down. It shows how they've made the adjustment.
Yeah.
Right. And it's impossible in a running tally that it would have gone down automatically. That, you know, it can't go down. It goes down if you're voting rigging the vote, right? And you.
But fucks everything up.
It's a sequence of operations point.
Yeah.
You know, you do the subtraction, etc., before you make then the adjustment to tally it up again.
So
and make
what you're saying is cheating is fucking complicated.
Well, if you want to clear, if you want to try and clear your tracks, there's stages of operations that you have to go through to do it.
Yeah,
but
and therefore, if you try to do it, you can spot when people are trying it. That's what you're saying. Well, fair enough.
Yeah, well, if this video is real, right, it shows what would happen at some point in the stages of operation. The simple fact, I mean, the thing is, though, Ranjan, is it's the number of calculations or whatever a computer does every second is very, very quick. So, this video is a very good way of showing how it's done mathematically and how you would do it in the algorithm with the for the vote rigging algorithm, as it were. But it all happened very.
If I may, Build Back Better.
Yeah.
How about this? Build Banana Republic.
No, it doesn't really work, does it?
Or Build Back Better, and then underneath it, Banana Republic. Do we want to live in a home-owning democracy or what is it? Or a rent-seeking Banana Republic? Build Back Better is the Banana Republic. They want to create a weak state.
The man from Del Monte, he say yeah, or something like that.
Exactly. Exactly, but that's what I mean, because what you're talking about to do with the rigging.
Okay, right? So where's he from? Stanton.
Who? The man from Del Monte?
No, Joe Biden. The man from Del Monte was that was all Polypec. That guy,
Azil Nadir.
Azil Nadir. He owned Del Monte when those adverts used to come out. Azil Nadir owned Del Monte.
No? Oh my God, I didn't realize how big he was. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, was he involved in property or insurance? Was he an insurance guy?
He was into everything. I mean, he was a magnate.
Yeah, no, we'll leave him for now. But
but what I'm saying is that the man from Del Monte, he say yeah. So we need the man from Stanton, he say yeah, and it's for bananas rather than fruit. Because that's sort of redolent of the I mean, that's where Banana Republic comes from, because it was the U.S. Fruit Corporation.
Guatemala. Yeah, Guatemala. They're now called Chiquita. It's funny that you're saying that, actually, because Edward Bernays was apparently the guy who came up with the term Banana Republic in order to it was probably Eisenhower, right? In order to make it all cool, to make to make the UK okay, the US okay with that type of intervention, but of course he came up with the term, the book Propaganda and Engineering of Consent. So we've just seen the biggest fucking example of a consent, a so-called consensus or a consent engineering.
The thing is, you've got to go somewhere to come up to Hunter Biden standards. That is so fucking funny.
Hunter Biden. Well, as you say, this is additive intelligence, old chap. That's. I'm gonna claim a little bit of that one, but that was a joint effort, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, I shall leave you be. Basically, Rob is going to be on the telly later. On Andrew Marr. Who's the other one? I can't remember. What's his name? David Lammy will be on.
Right. Do you know? There's hard. I mean, what's the point of watching it?
No, I'm not saying that.
They never say anything new, do they?
No, I mean, if I was with somebody, like before, on Sunday morning, I'd watch it with Helena, and I'd be like, oh my god, and I'd watch Twitter just melt occasionally.
Yeah.
But today, obviously, Twitter's always, there won't be a big delta because it's obviously already melt. But it's a good opportunity for Hunter Biden hashtag lampoonery. and Great Reset.
And this is the opportunity when everybody's sort of thinking, oh, what are these people going to say? Oh, we must see what goes on Mar. No, fucking turn Mar off. You know, fuck what everyone else is saying on Twitter. You know, fuck what the Google algorithm is recommending to everybody. You know, it's like,
I'm with you, man. Hallelujah.
Shit. You want the real shit? Here's the real shit.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden, you know, yeah, the man from Scranton, he say yes. Yes, they did. Welcome to the fascist dystopian Great Reset. Building back better with Uncle Joe. You know, I would just...
Okay, brilliant. I'm down with all of that. I think we have to draw the line at the turd in the punch bowl this time.
Yeah.
We'll save that one for the next one. But
yeah.
But yeah, and then as for a pointer, so apart from that, do they then get pointed to something educational? A link? Because it's an opportunity. It could blow up. So what's the best video for them to watch in relation to the Great Reset? Because people are talking about it a lot. You know, we'll be making a contribution.
Well, the least. Well, it's the Computing Forever one. Klaus Schwab into Dr. Strangelove.
I haven't seen
it. Yeah, I'll send you a link. I mean, I did my one of von der Leyen fawning over him with, you know, I had exactly the same idea back in April.
Is there a video of them both together?
Yeah, of her actually addressing him. I mean, you know, she's doing everything apart from belating him.
Yeah, so it must have been in January, right?
No. Well, it was in January that it was at Davos that she gave the eulogy, as it were, and I cut that into some Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, did you? Oh man, send me that. I haven't seen that.
Have you not?
Yeah. I mean, she is way better than Trump when it comes to, you know, satire and all of this. She's way better because she's the real fucking deal. She's got the German accent, and she's like, oh, of course, we must do the Green New Deal.
Exactly. And Slav, the video of him talking, the Computing Forever one, he is straight out of Central Casting for the Gestapo villain. And here he is with his eugenics plus, you know, we will kill you for your own good. Arbeit macht frei.
The thing is, again, without meaning to sound too elitist, Trump is a lower orders German compared to von der Leyen. You know, she's more from the higher ups, properly.
Well, quite, yeah. Trump is definitely not a von.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a von, is he? But I mean, she married into that. But he's
Trump.
Yeah, with the big boobies.
You know, Trump is a sock.
Oh, is it?
Trump is kind of
what does Trump mean?
Bank stock.
Did you say what? He's his bank his sock? Did you say?
No, his wank sock. You know what?
Now.
Oh dear.
Poor Trump. These people, they're just as, you know, they're kind of unwillingly playing these roles. But, you know, Ursula, I think she knows what she's doing, as does Klaus. Scary. All right, well, I am actually probably going to make myself a copy as well.
Here we are. This is the one. So there we go. They're both in the chat now. The one I made and the one... But this is the one it should link to. Klaus Schwab and the Not So Great Deal. But,
I love it. The Not So Great Deal. Who made it?
Biden.
Who made it?
It's an Irish computer nerd with a channel called Computing Forever. It's a good guy. He's a libertarian, but it's very good. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to sharing some information with people this morning.
Good.
Okay, speak to you in a bit. Bye.
Cheers, Ranjan. Cheers. Bye.